follow me, even if it costs everything. That night, the sound of the Amnok River ice cracking reached the floor of the outpost. Under the flare's pale light, I kept shifting my aim, between the sightline and the shadow on the water. The radio crackled unidentified movement. Prepare to fire. The commander's voice repeated, cold and sharp. In my right hand, I held an old handkerchief pulled from my blanket pouch. Its faded blue stripe, the same one my mother tied around my wrist on the day I left for duty. It was close enough now. One more pull of the trigger, and it would be over. The figure struggling in the water looked toward me and waved something. A handkerchief. My finger felt the full weight of the trigger's resistance. But I couldn't pull it. Then all the floodlights switched on at once, turning the river bright as day. And at that exact moment, my commander's footsteps stopped right behind me. I was a low-ranking sentry at an Amnok River outpost in the early 2000s. Orders cut colder than snow. The post clung to a cliff over the water. The wind stabbed my face like a blade. At night, flares combed the river. By day, binoculars swept the far shore. That was my entire life. My commander said the same line, over and over. Orders outrun thought, follow faster than a bullet. His voice was low and hard. I carved it into my chest. Thought was dangerous. Hesitation was punished. Inside the post, one rulebook, 3 rifles, 1 radio. Nothing else needed. No, nothing else allowed. Man didn't talk. If someone stared too long across the river, another man watched him. No trust. Private thoughts forbidden. During the night shift, footsteps rang against concrete. Breath froze white. I lived by holding my breath. But I kept one secret. Before I enlisted, my mother stitched a small cross into a handkerchief and gave it to me. The cloth was worn but soft, the embroidery faint yet clear. A band sign, not to be shown, not to be named. She didn't explain, only said, one day, this will keep you safe. That was the last thing she said. Her voice trembled, her eyes were deep. I didn't know what it meant. Then she vanished. I never spoke her name again. I couldn't. A missing family member bred suspicion. Questions invited interrogations. I chose silence and hid the handkerchief deep in my uniform. At night I touched it. My fingertips traced the raised threads. The cloth held her warmth, the only warmth I had left. It was also fear. If found, I was a traitor. Even so, I couldn't throw it away. Her last words kept breathing at my ear. This will keep you safe. Safe from what I didn't know. Nights were long and still. A flare burst, the river flushed red. The light died, darkness fell again. Repetition dulled me. Feeling was luxury, questions were risk. I moved like a machine and obeyed. Then one night, in the gap between flares, a faint song drifted from the far bank. And the truth will set you free. My body locked. The rifle grew heavy, my heart sprinted. The voice was low, shaking, yet clear. The wind carried it across the water into my ear. I raised my binoculars. Nothing. Only darkness heaving. No such song in the manual. Not a march. Not a folk tune. It sounded foreign, a forbidden bell. I reached for the radio, then stopped. What would I report? A song? A voice with no face. The echo wouldn't leave. The truth will set you free. I mouthed the words. Truth. Freedom. I had never put those in my mouth. We had rules, not truth, orders, not freedom. But the song spoke of another world. I pulled out the handkerchief. Warm cloth. The cross snagged my finger. My mother's voice rose up. This will keep you safe. I understood a little. She hadn't meant my body. She meant my heart. The song and the handkerchief were tied together. The realization scared me. That tie was rebellion. I hid the cloth again. A flare burst, the river reddened. The song faded, but its pulse stayed in me. That night I thought of something other than orders for the first time. I knew how dangerous that was. The wind returned, sharp and cold. Yet a strange heat remained in my chest. Fear and a hunger for something I couldn't name. I didn't know it then, but that song had started to shake my life apart. Days later we patrolled the riverbank. Morning fog draped the water, gravel clicked cold under my boots. I checked the storage shed per regulations, old rations, rusted wire, cracked cement. Then I saw it caught in a floor seam. I knelt, prized it loose. A scrap of paper, yellowed, frayed edges, but the writing was firm, pressed hard by an old hand. Truth is stronger than orders. My breath stopped. I looked around. No one. Still my heart hammered, my hands shook. Dangerous words. Words that deny the manual, rattle the system. If anyone found this on me, I'd be suspect. I slipped it into my pocket, folded it between the handkerchief. The cloth felt warm, my hands were cold. The paper weighed nothing, my chest weighed more. Truth is stronger than orders. I mouthed it. What is truth? Orders are clear: shoot, watch, report. That's everything I knew. But truth, who defines it? Why hide such a line in a crack of cement? It wasn't accidental. Someone left it on purpose. Maybe for me. But who? Why? I shut the shed. The lock clicked. Fog closed in again. I walked back, checking my six. No one. Only the water speaking far off. That evening before duty, the commander came by. Routine inspection. Then a casual question. You hear any strange songs on the river lately? My body went rigid, throat dry, heart pounding. Did he know? Or was it bait? I dodged his eyes. No, comrade. Short answer. Shaking voice. He studied me in a long silence, knife-bright gaze. I squeezed the handkerchief in my pocket until the threads bit my skin. That's fine then. He turned away, his steps heavier than usual. He knew something, or suspected. Fear rose, and with it, a certainty. This wasn't random. That night, the song returned clearer. The truth will set you free. The voice was low but sure, crossing the wind like a whisper meant for me. I didn't launch a flare. I stood in the dark and listened. The refrain circled, my heart tilted. The sound crossed the river and shook a place in me I'd sealed shut. I pulled out the handkerchief. Even in the dark I felt the cross. And the folded paper within. Truth is stronger than orders. The line and the lyric overlapped. Truth, freedom. They were connected. For the first time, the word gospel crossed my mind. A word I'd heard, but never dared to say. Forbidden, dangerous. Yet it rang inside me as if it had always been there, waking up now. Good news. Word of truth. My mother's cloth, the crack in the floor, the song on the wind, all telling one story. Something moved deep in my chest, fear, and a hunger. The realization turned to fear again. If this surfaced? If I accepted this truth? What then? Could I leave a post? Refuse an order? Lower a rifle? I didn't know. I only knew something was changing in me, and there was no turning it back. The song stopped. The river settled. Only wind. I tucked the cloth away. It felt heavier now. Not just fabric, a sign of truth. That night I thought of prayer. I didn't know to whom, so I whispered, if this is truth, lead me. It felt like pleading and surrender. I could no longer respond only to orders. Truth was calling. It was shaking me. I chose to answer, not knowing where it would lead. A flare broke. The river burned red. Ice flashed. But I was not the same. Another voice had begun to speak inside me, and it was growing louder. The ice started to break. The river roared. The air was wet. Spring approached, but the post stayed cold and dark. I was on night duty, rifle slung, eyes on the water. Movement. Under the perimeter light, a black shape trembled on the ice. I raised my binoculars. A man, walking slow, in a uniform with no rank visible. Blue face. Clothes drenched. I grabbed the radio. My hand shook, but I followed procedure. Post 3. Unidentified approach. Standing by to fire. The reply came flat and hard. Confirmed. Warn, then fire. I raised the gun. Sighted him. He kept coming. Didn't stop. Didn't turn. Walking straight toward the post as if he were coming to me. I shouted, stop where you are. The river threw my voice back. He didn't stop. He lifted one hand. Something gripped in it. I glassed him again. A handkerchief, sagging with water, an old square of cloth. In the light it flashed and I stopped breathing. A cross stitched in the corner, faint but clear. The same cross as my mother's. My heart kicked wild. Hands shaking. The rifle dipped. This wasn't chance. He knew me. No, he knew her. The cloth was a sign. He called out, voice shaking but clear. White path. The code. I should answer with stop. My mouth moved on its own. Stop. It sounded like a plea, not a command. He took a step closer. Ice groaned. Water hissed. He lifted the cloth higher and shouted, "God knows you." The words pierced my chest. God, a name I'd heard but never dared speak. Forbidden, dangerous. Yet the name rang in me like a bell. God knows you. Not in the manual, not in any order. But the sentence shook the deepest place in me. It was something I'd longed to hear. Not knowing it, my mother's voice rose. "This will keep you safe." The paper whispered, "Truth is stronger than orders." The wind sang, "The truth will set you free." Everything clicked: the cloth, the note, the song, and the man before me. All one story. Truth's story. The gospel's story. The radio screamed, "Fire." The commander's voice. The order was clear. Absolute. I set my finger on the trigger. Cold steel under skin. The weight settled on my shoulder. Sight steady. The man stood there, holding the cloth. The cross caught the light. I held my breath. Blood roared. The trigger felt light. One pull, bullet, fall, report. The rifle did not speak. My finger froze. Something in me resisted. Something bigger than the manual, stronger than the order, gripping my hand. Truth is stronger than orders. It rang inside me. I could not fire. No, I would not. The man was not an enemy. He was a messenger, a witness, someone sent by my mother and sent by truth. The sight wavered. The cross blurred and steadied again. Footsteps. The commander's tread. Heavy, slow. He came to my shoulder. I didn't turn. Fear clamped my throat. Guilt crushed my chest. He said nothing. He brushed my shoulder, raised his own rifle. I saw his hand. Finger poised. Sight exact. I closed my eyes. A shot would crack the night. A man would fall. I would remember this forever. The night I denied truth. The night I betrayed the gospel. But something else happened. His barrel dipped. He looked a long time through the scope at the man on the ice. His hand trembled. His breath roughened. He whispered, "That face, I know it." I opened my eyes. His gaze shook. His lips were set. He was remembering someone. The man on the river still stood there. Cloth raised, cross bright. The commander reached into my pocket, pulled out my handkerchief, my mother's cross. I felt everything collapse. He opened the cloth. The cross shone under the light. He stared at it, traced the threads, bit his lip. I stopped breathing. He spoke low, trembling. "Where did you get this?" Words stuck. Silence was worse. I forced sound through a tight throat. "My mother gave it to me." His hand paused. He kept staring, as if looking for something inside the cloth, as if groping through old memory. Then he asked, "Was her name Park Jiang-a?" Air left my lungs. My body froze. The world halted. That was my mother's name. A name I couldn't say. A name I had tried to erase. Now he said it. I nodded. I couldn't speak. Tears burned up. He exhaled a long breath, pressed the cloth to his chest, closed his eyes. She was. He searched for the word. His voice shook. His breathing rasped. Once under my command. Shock hit me. My mother under his command? I only knew she vanished one day. Questions were never allowed. Truth was forbidden. He continued, head bowed, as if confessing. She led prayer meetings underground, shared the Bible, a banned book, a banned name. His voice wavered. I could barely accept it. My mother? Prayer? Scripture? That was rebellion, death. But that day, she saved me. He opened his eyes. Pain lived there, old and deep. I was ordered to shoot, to root out believers. The operation failed. Suspicion turned on me. He looked at the cross. She took all the blame. Said it was hers alone. Said I knew nothing. I lived. She disappeared. Words left me. My mind went white. My chest collapsed. She had saved him. Paid with her life or something worse. The man on the river shouted again, voice cutting the wind. She prays for you even now. Clear, urgent. And this handkerchief, she sent it. I shook. Was she alive? Or was her will alive? The man kept calling. The gospel doesn't die. Truth lives. The commander's face twisted. He placed the cloth back in my hand. His fingers shook. His eyes flickered. He whispered, I heard the gospel that day, and turned away. The weight of it fell between us. Decades of guilt, a lifetime of regret. She offered me the book. I refused. She asked me to pray. I said no. I was afraid. I wanted to live. He lifted his head and met my eyes. Today, I want to see what you do. Choice. Raise the rifle or lower it. Obey the order or obey the truth. Carry my mother's sacrifice or betray it. The radio split the air sharp, merciless. Open fire. Execute immediately. The order was absolute. Refusal was rebellion. Rebellion meant death. I looked at him. He gripped my shoulder. Firm but warm. Leave the regulations to me, he said softly. The truth is yours. I understood. He would take the blame. Accept punishment. As my mother once saved him, he meant to save me. I took the handkerchief. It weighed nothing and everything: a mother's love, a commander's repentance, a stranger's courage on the river. I lowered the rifle. My arms were heavy. My heart was light. I was disobeying but obeying truth. Sirens wailed. Lights burst across the ice. The commander raised his own rifle. He fired into the sky. The flare blossomed blood red. The night bled. The river burned. I looked to the water. The man slid into a seam of ice. Spray leapt. He vanished. Only the cloth remained on the ice, the cross flashing once more. The radio barked. Confirm. Was the target neutralized? The commander answered, cold and steady like nothing had happened. Warning shots issued. Target fell into the river. It was a lie for the sake of truth. He set the radio down and looked at me. Peace had settled in his eyes, the kind that comes after a long night. I pressed the handkerchief to my chest and prayed, silently, Mother, I will follow your road. The flare died. Darkness fell. Only the river spoke. I was no longer afraid. Truth had set me free. Truth had kept me safe. That night I learned it wasn't the cloth that protected me, but the faith stitched into it. Investigators came. Questions slammed down. Flare arcs, shot counts, watermarks. Everything checked. I kept silent. The commander explained everything. 2 warning shots. Target fell into the river. His voice didn't shake. The report was simple. The facts were bent. Inside the bending, truth survived. They doubted but found no proof. The river had swallowed the evidence. The ice erased the tracks. Days later, the verdict: unconfirmed kill. 2 warning shots. Ambiguous and enough. The commander took all responsibility. Misjudgment, slow response, delayed report. He accepted every charge. The punishment: transfer. I stayed. The post went quiet again. I didn't. Each night I faced the river, handkerchief in my grip, tracing the cross, replaying that night. Had the man lived? Had my mother's message reached me fully? What should I do now? The answer came strange. At dawn after patrol, a small envelope lay at the post door. Old paper, mud-stained. No one around. I picked it up. Light as air, heavy as a heart. Inside a handkerchief and a letter. The cloth was old but clean, the same cross stitched into the corner. My hand shook as I unfolded the note. The handwriting was clumsy but clear. The man on the river is your mother's disciple. My breath stopped. A disciple? He crossed on purpose to bring you the gospel. The letter ran on. He wasn't dodging bullets, he was delivering salvation. Your mother told him, my son guards the Amnok. Bring him the truth. I cried, long and hard. The cloth drank my tears, the ink blurred. But I couldn't stop. Now I understood the note in the shed, the song, the handkerchief. The man. He wasn't a defector. He was a messenger of the gospel. He carried my mother's faith. He came to speak truth to me. He risked death, walked to the ice, lifted the cloth, and stood under my rifle. God knows you. The sentence rang again. I knew its meaning now. God had not abandoned me. Through my mother, through the note, through the song, through the man on the ice, he had called me. One more line waited at the bottom. Your mother is alive, and she prays for you. My heart burst at the ribs. Alive? I thought she'd gone to a place worse than death. But alive? I held the handkerchief to my chest. The cross touched my heartbeat. She had not forgotten me. From far away, in danger, she prayed. A few mornings later, before his transfer, the commander called me out. He carried a small pack. His face was thin, his eyes were clear. We stood by the river, Wind moved, water moved, no flares, only the gray of rising fog. He spoke. That night I thought of the name Jesus again. Quiet voice, a deep current inside it. Decades I tried to forget, to erase, but the name wouldn't go. It was only buried. He lifted his gaze to the pale sky. Your mother said, truth always saves a life. He looked at me again. I believe that now. His eyes trembled like an old repentance finding words. I pulled out the handkerchief, my mother's cross. I offered it. You're free now, I said. He took it. His hand shook. Tears brimmed. He pressed it to his chest and closed his eyes. His lips moved. A small prayer slipped out. Lord, forgive me. Confession. Surrender. Guilt cracked and fell. Old fear drained away. He wept quietly, deeply. I wept too. After a long time, he gave the cloth back. It's yours. Your mother's last gift. I shook my head. It's ours now. Truth is meant to be shared. He smiled, truly smiled, then shouldered the pack and turned. His steps were light, his back straight. He wasn't a prisoner anymore. He was a free man. I watched until the fog took him. He disappeared. Still I knew wherever he went, he would walk with truth. I opened the handkerchief to the light. The cross burned in the new sun. I read the letter again. Truth is stronger than orders. Now I knew more. Truth is stronger than death. Love stronger than fear. The river ran. Ice melted. Spring came. I tucked the cloth to my heart and walked back to the post. Not the same man. I was free, not with chains of orders, but with wings of truth. Freedom pointed a new road, my mother's road, the commander's recovered road, the riverman's witness. I chose it. Wherever it led, whatever I met, I would walk with truth, and the truth would set me free. The sun rose. Red light washed the water. Birds lifted. A new day began. So did my new life. Years passed. I crossed south. The journey was long and brutal. I wasn't alone. The handkerchief walked with me. Truth walked with me. So did my mother's prayer. I go to church now, a small one. An old building, old benches. But there is freedom there. Freedom to speak truth, to sing, to pray. I sit and listen to the word each week. At first it felt strange. Now it feels like something I always owned but had lost and finally found. Inside the first page of my Bible lies my mother's handkerchief. The cloth is older, threads loosened, colors faded. The cross is still clear. Before service I take it out. I trace the threads. Memory returns. The Amnok nights, the flares, the commander's tears, the man on the ice. 2 lines are stitched inside. Truth is stronger than orders. The sentence from the shed. I stitched it into the hem with clumsy hands so I would never forget. Beneath it, a verse. The truth will set you free. John 8:32. Once a song across the river, now a map in my life. I found it in scripture, memorized it, carved it into my heart. When sunlight pours through the church windows, I remember the flare over the river, the red light, the shot to the sky, the moment I lowered my rifle. Inside that red, one truth stronger than orders turned my heart over and led me here. I no longer cross the Amnok. I cross the river of the Word. That river never freezes. It runs in winter, it shines at night. I drink there daily. Thirst eases, the soul amends. It's the river of life, the river of freedom. Each time I walk its bank, I whisper, Lord, don't let me forget the handkerchief of truth that seized me that night. It's my prayer morning, evening, before sleep, not to remember the cloth, but the truth in it, the freedom it gave, and the road that freedom keeps opening. Sometimes I wonder, where is the commander now? Did he find freedom? Did the riverman live? Is he still carrying the gospel? And my mother truly alive? Will we meet again? I don't know. I know this: we walk within the same truth, toward the same freedom. One day, across that other river, we will meet. When service ends, I slide the handkerchief back into the Bible. The cross glints. The threads are warm. I step outside and look up. Sun breaks through cloud. Birds rise. Now I know. Truth frees a person. Freedom saves a life. Orders breed fear. Truth gives courage. And a single handkerchief, one last gift from a mother, can change a life forever. I walk through streets, through days, through freedom. And a song moves in me as I go. The truth will set you free. It's my song now, the song from across the river, now in my mouth. I sing it softly, but sure. And every time I do, I feel it. My mother's hand on my shoulder. My commander's tears warming my chest. The river man's courage guiding my steps. I am free. Truth has set me free, and that freedom is mine forever.